Let's meet Genghis Khan. Though he started as Temujin, a kid on the unforgiving Mongolian steppes, his childhood? Brutal. His father was poisoned, his family abandoned, and survival was a daily battle. But Temujin didn't just survive, he learned to lead. He united the warring Mongol tribes, forging them into a single, unstoppable force. Imagine convincing lifelong enemies to join your team, except the stakes were life and death. He gave his people a new identity and a new mission. Stop fighting each other and start conquering the world. The Mongol army became a military machine, disciplined, fast, and deadly. Masters of horseback and archery, they could ride for days and strike with terrifying precision. With his new title, Genghis Khan, Universal Ruler, he set out to build an empire. And he did. He conquered vast territories, from China to the Caspian Sea. His name became synonymous with destruction, but there was more to him than conquest. Genghis Khan was also a visionary leader. He established a written language, a legal code called the Yasa, and a postal system, the Yam, that connected his empire. Messages and goods could travel at record speed across thousands of miles. He built the foundations for a world-changing empire. Yes, resistance was met with brutality, but those who joined prospered. He wasn't just a warlord, he was a nation builder. Under his rule, the Mongols became a force that would reshape history. Genghis Khan died in 1227, but his legacy was just beginning. His empire would become the largest land empire in history. The world would never be the same. He left behind not just land but a system, a culture, and a legend. The story of Genghis Khan is about more than conquest, it's about transformation. He turned chaos into order, and tribes into a civilization. His methods were harsh, but his impact was lasting. The Mongol Empire would echo through the centuries. Genghis Khan's story is a reminder. Greatness can come from the most unlikely places. From the windswept steppes, he changed the world. And his story is just getting started. Genghis Khan dies and the world holds its breath. Would his empire collapse? Not quite. He left behind a plan and a family business. His sons, Yochi, Chagatai, Ogadai, and Tolui, each got a piece of the empire. Ogadai, the third son, became the next great Khan. Ogadai wasn't a warrior like his father, but he was a builder. He founded Karakoram, the empire's capital, and kept the Mongol machine running. Expansion didn't stop. The Mongols pushed deeper into China, Persia, and even Europe. The empire was divided into regions, each ruled by a branch of the family, a clever way to manage so much land. The sons inherited not just power, but a well-oiled system. They didn't have to build from scratch. They just had to keep conquering. It was like inheriting a supercar and being told, don't crash it. And they didn't. They floored it, expanding the empire across 3 continents. The Mongol legacy grew even larger under the next generation. The world map was being redrawn by Genghis's heirs. The Mongol family business was booming. The second generation of Khans proved that Genghis's system worked. They kept the empire together and kept the world on edge. The Mongol story was far from over. In fact, it was about to get even more complicated. Family businesses rarely stay peaceful forever. After Ogadai's death, the Mongol Empire began to fracture. Genghis's grandsons, Kublai, Hulegu, Berk, each wanted their own piece of the world. The empire split into 4 khanates: Yuan in China, Ilkhanate in Persia, Chagatai in Central Asia, and the Golden Horde in Russia. Kublai Khan finished conquering China and became emperor, founding the Yuan dynasty. Hulegu sacked Baghdad, ending the Islamic Golden Age, and ruled Persia. Berk, ruling the Golden Horde, converted to Islam and clashed with Hulegu. Mongols were now fighting Mongols, family feuds on a global scale. The dream of a single world empire was over. Each khanate became its own power, with its own ambitions and culture. They shared a heritage, but not a future. The Mongol Empire was now 4 competing dynasties. Each would leave a unique mark on history. The unity that built the empire was gone, but the legacy of the Mongols would live on in every corner of their former lands. The age of the united Mongol Empire had ended, but its influence was just beginning. In 1241, Europe's worst nightmare came true. The Mongols invaded. Led by Batu Khan and the genius general Subutai, they crushed armies from Poland to Hungary in weeks. European knights were no match for Mongol horse archers. Speed, strategy, and terror won the day. Panic swept the continent. The Mongols were seen as an unstoppable force, almost supernatural. The Pope called for a crusade, not against Jerusalem, but against the Mongols. Just as they were about to sweep into Western Europe, the invasion stopped. Why? The great Khan Ogedai died, and Mongol tradition demanded all princes return home to choose a new leader. Europe was saved by a distant political crisis, a lucky break that changed history. The Mongol invasion shattered Europe's sense of security. It forced them to look outward, to modernize, and to learn from the East. The shock of the Mongol storm set the stage for the Renaissance and the Age of Discovery. The Mongols didn't conquer Europe, but they changed it forever. Their brief invasion left a permanent mark on European history. Sometimes, the greatest impact comes from what almost happened. The Mongols showed Europe just how big and dangerous the world really was. After the conquest, the Mongol Empire brought something unexpected: peace. The Pax Mongolica made the Silk Road safer than ever. Merchants, missionaries, and explorers could travel from Europe to China with a single Mongol pass. Trade boomed and ideas flowed. Gunpowder, the compass, and printing technology all traveled west. Cultures mixed, art and cuisine blended, and the world became more connected than ever before. The Mongols protected trade because it made them rich, and it made the world smaller. But this new connectivity had a dark side. The Black Death traveled the same routes, devastating populations from Asia to Europe. The Mongol Empire's peace was a double-edged sword. It created the first era of globalization and the first global pandemic. The world was never the same. The Pax Mongolica was brief, but its impact was enormous. The Mongols didn't just conquer, they connected, and that connection changed everything. Genghis Khan's legacy isn't just in history books, it's in our DNA. He and his sons had countless descendants, spreading their genes across Asia. In 2003, scientists found a Y chromosome marker shared by about 16 million men today, likely tracing back to Genghis Khan. One man's genetic legacy, written into millions of people. The Mongol social structure made this possible. Conquerors took wives and their lineage spread. If you have Central Asian roots, you might be distantly related to the Great Khan. His legacy isn't just empires or laws, it's in the cells of millions. History isn't just something we read, sometimes we carry it inside us. Genghis Khan's family tree is the ultimate reminder of how the past lives on. The world's greatest conqueror may also be its most prolific ancestor. Why does Genghis Khan still matter? Because his world is our world. In Mongolia, he's a national hero. His face is everywhere, from money to airports. The Mongol Empire redrew the map of Asia, shaping modern China and Russia. The centralized Russian state learned from Mongol rule. The Mongol legacy is a paradox, born in violence, but it connected civilizations. They were destroyers and builders, outsiders who changed the world. Genghis Khan's story proves that one person's ambition can reshape history. His influence is in our maps, our cultures, and even our DNA. The ghost of the steppe still rides, in the connections between East and West, and in the world we live in today. Genghis Khan left a mark that time can't erase.